Hi, I'm Narendra Kumar, and in this video, we are going to understand how we can run one notebook in Databricks from another notebook. We get these two options. We will discuss these options in detail with all the scenarios, and each of the scenario we will also check out through the demo notebook. So let's get started. So to run a notebook, we get these two options, and the main use case for using percentage run, it is to import variables and functions defined in one notebook to another notebook. Then we use percentage run, and if we want to run some code separately and then get the output of the code, or maybe don't need the output also, then we use the dbutils.notebook.run. We will understand more into the demo. And this percent run, it is the magic command, so it has to be the first line always if we want to use it. And this is not a magic command, we can use it programmatically with dynamic things wherever we want to use. And when we run it, so if we are using this percent run, then it runs in the same thread, it does not trigger a additional job. Wherein if we run it using notebook.run, then it will trigger it as a separate run, that job will complete, and then we can get the output out of that. And in terms of input parameters, so let's say if we are running second notebook, we want to pass some parameters to that, so that is supported in both sides. And if we want to receive the output back from that notebook after execution, so that is not supported in percent run because it is not intended for that purpose. Wherein it is supported in this second case. We will see how we can receive it. And if we want to handle exceptions also while receiving the output or executing the code, then here it is not supported in percent run because it is intended just to import the variable and functions. So those never fails in if we have written them in the right way. And in dbutils.notebooks.run, it is supported. We can handle exceptions. We will see this through the demo part. So now let's jump to the demo. Let's see all these things in action. Now we are in my Databricks workspace. This is a sample notebook I have created, and we will see both these commands and with all the options, like with parameters, without it, the output and exception handling. So if we simply want to import some variables and some function definition, so then we use like this percentage run and then the notebook. So this second notebook, let me open it. This is how I have created this second notebook. In this one, I have created a simple variable. I have defined a simple function and just a print statement. So when I run this command, what it will do is it will import that variable, it will import that function, and then I will be able to use that variable and function in this notebook. So that is the purpose of using this command. And as I have run it successfully now, so now the variable that I had defined in this notebook and the function that I had defined there, I am passing a parameter here also. So both of these I can use them now in this notebook. So that is how it is working. And here I had specified the relevant path, like because it is in the current directory, so this dot slash works. But if it is in some other directory, then we need to specify this complete path. So if I click here, from here we can get the complete path, and that path we can paste here. So this will also do the exact same thing. But in production kind of scenarios, we always tend to specify the complete path so that it never breaks. Next, let's understand if we want to pass some parameters also while we are doing it. So this another notebook I have created, which is very similar. And this time, let's say I'm taking input parameter. One is name, second one is radius. These I have created as widgets. I hope you already know that how to use widgets. And then I'm getting the output of those widgets as variables here. And then here I'm just creating a function, greet user, area of circle. I'm calculating the circle area using that radius, which is provided as input. and then I'm just printing like this notebook, it has been called with this parameter and this radius, so that we know that the parameters are passed successfully. So if I go to my main notebook, so with percentage run, this is how we specify parameters as dollar parameter name, and then the parameter value, then the second parameter. So if I run it, now it will run this notebook. It will pass these parameters and just do whatever is there inside that notebook. So here we can see it has used these two parameters, and it has mentioned that it is executed successfully. Now we can use those functions here again like we already used. But passing parameters, it is normally not much used there, but we can use it if we want. So this is one way of executing the jobs. Uh, but this method, it is mainly preferred to import the variables and functions like I was telling. Normally we don't use it to run any code. We can use it for any small code, but if we have some bigger code and it needs a separate execution, then there is this second utility available as part of dbutils. So how we can use this is, let's say we have this another notebook, utils with param, the same one which we were using here. If we want to call it using dbutils, then it is a kind of a python function. So we use this function. It takes multiple argument. The first argument, it is the path of the notebook. It is in the same directory, so it works with the dot slash. This is timeout. So after how much time we want to time out, in case it takes longer than that, it is in seconds. So if I'm running this, you will notice that this separate window is appearing this time, which was not happening when we used percentage run. So why this is happening is because it is running this notebook as a separate job. It is not running within the same thread. And now the execution, it is complete. And we also notice that inside this notebook, we had this print statement that was printed here. But here we don't see it. Why we don't see it? Because it was executed as a separate thread. So if I click it, then it will take me to that particular job execution. So this is the separate job which was triggered when we used that command. And we can see the execution, and here it is printing that how it executed. So this is how, if we use this dbutils.run, it triggers it as a separate job. That is how it works. And this timeout, it is to control if we want to limit the time. After that, if we want this job to fail, if we want to do that. And in this way, if we want to additionally pass the parameters, so that is the third argument of this function. So notebook path, then the timeout, and then the parameters we can pass here. So if we run it this way, it will run this as a separate job by passing these parameters. Now this execution, it is completed. To check out if it used these parameters properly, let's click it. It will take us to the job page. And here we will be able to see that these parameters were passed successfully. Now let's go back. And here we could see that the print statements are not working. So if we want to get some output from this inner notebook into this main notebook, then how do we do it? So that is another way of doing that. So this is how we receive the output. Like when we run this function, it may or may not return a output that may receive in a variable, and then we can print it. But how we will get the output, for that the notebook that we are calling, inside that we have to put something. So let's check it out how we can return the output. Now I'm inside this new notebook which is with output. So rest of the code, it is very similar. It is just this new function that is there, uh, which is called as dbutils.notebook.exit. So this exit function, whatever value we put here, that is what will be returned back to the notebook which is calling this notebook. So that is how this works. So at the end of this notebook, we put it. If you put it in middle, that is where the notebook will and it will not execute the further cells. So we have to put it at the end only. And once we put it, and if we call it from another notebook, then we get that as a output. So now let's try it out. So here we are running it. It will receive it in this variable and then it will print that circle area. Here we can see that execution, it is complete and it has printed that circle area. It was able to receive the output. Now let's understand how to handle if something goes wrong inside our notebook. For that, it supports this kind of exception handling. So this is the best practice that we normally do. Whenever we call any notebook using this dbutils.notebook.run, then we put it inside a try except block. Inside try, we do the right thing that we want to do. In except, we put that the child notebook failed with the error message and all. And we also handle the exception in another way, or as per the best practices inside this notebook also. So let's check it out. This is a separate new notebook that I have created. And in this one, the function that we had for calculating the area of circle, what I have done is I have put the main function inside a try except block, and I have created a status variable here. So if this function is executed successfully, the status will be success. If it is failed, then it will be a status will be error, and the error message it is generating, that will be stored into another variable called as error message. And how we will use these two variables is like this. So here the output that we are going to return, this time it is not a single variable, it is a dictionary that we are going to return. So if our status it is error, then the output that I have default as none, the output it will be status as error and error message as error message that was received. And if status was not error, it was success, then the output it will be the circle area that was calculated and the status as success. So this is how we are returning the output that will help us in the main notebook to know whether this inner notebook was failed. If failed, what was the error message? If successful, then what is the output? So if you notice here, this is a kind of dictionary I have created, and that dictionary I am dumping as a JSON here. So here that way we can return any JSON output that we want. And if we call this from our main function, so there again we put it inside a try except block, and the output that we are getting from inside that notebook, that we use here. So if I run it, let's see how it is printing the output. So here you can see as the output that it has provided the complete output with the status as success and then the actual output. So this status, it is very useful. After this code execution is complete, we can use this status message for anything. Let's say the previous step it is success, then do this. If it is error, then do this. Like that we use all these things. So these are all the options that we use. I hope now you understand when to use each one. And if you are looking for this code, then I have uploaded it. The link is there in the description. If you have any queries, put them in the comment. If you liked my content, then put a like and comment on this video. That's all for this one. Thank you. Bye bye. Happy learning.